Andaman, located 1400 kilometers southeast of the Indian mainland, this is where history meets paradise. While its stunning coral reefs and pristine blue beaches rival the Maldives in beauty, its soul lies in the past. Standing tall as the land of brave hearts who gave everything for our freedom. So if you too are planning for a trip to Andamans but don't want to spend a hefty amount on packages where you are trapped in tight schedules, then this is the only video you need. Hi guys, this is Deep and we have spent weeks island hopping from iconic beaches to hidden gems, personally scouting dozens of hotels and resorts, vetting water sports providers, negotiating with rentals and testing every ferry and transport available just to ensure that you have the most reliable, up-to-date info for your Andaman trip. In this video, I am going to show you how to book ferries, taxis, scooty rentals, water sports and even bus and show tickets, everything online before you even leave home. This video covers the best time to visit, my top value resort picks, a perfect day-wise itinerary, a full cost breakdown and some essential pro tips that makes all the difference. I know it's a lot to discuss, but believe me, every minute here will save you hours of planning data. So don't miss a single part. The first thing we need to understand is that the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago actually consists of over 500 islands across North, Middle and South Andaman, but only a few of them are accessible to tourists. So if you are a first timer, focus on the Golden Triangle, Port Blair, Havelock and Neil Island. Covering just these three spots comfortably takes time, which is why we have designed a 7-day itinerary. This plan allows you to explore the best of Port Blair, North Bay and Chidiya Tapu along with the stunning islands of Neil, Havelock and Baratang without feeling rushed. A perfect balance of must-see sights and water activities. Now the best time to visit Andaman is from mid-October to March. The weather is pleasant and you will enjoy all the water activities without any worries. Monsoon season from July to September is best avoided due to heavy rains and rough seas. However, in winter, to experience the best of Andaman, you need to follow the lunar cycle. Weird, right? But you will be amazed to know the reason. I will explain this in a later section. Now the question is, how do you actually get to this paradise? Your gateway to the islands is Port Blair, the capital city, and you will have two choices to get there. A quick flight or a long haul by sea. Most travelers fly into Port Blair's Veer Savarkar International Airport. You will find direct flights from major cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai and Bangalore, but keep in mind prices skyrocket towards the year end, so if you are planning a winter trip, book your flights and hotels as early as possible. For the true adventurous, you can travel by sea from Chennai, Kolkata or Vizag. However, ships only sail 3 to 4 times a month and the journey takes nearly 3 to 4 days. The ship schedule and online bookings are managed by the Directorate of Shipping Services. So to book your tickets, you need to visit the Stars e-ticketing portal via provided link, create account and then book your tickets in your preferred class. Before we jump into day 1, here are 2 quick but vital tips. First, connectivity. In Port Blair, Jio, Airtel and BSNL work fine, but for Neil and Havelock, Airtel definitely offers better signal and speed. Second, pack smart. Most resort pools strictly forbid cotton, so bring synthetic swimming gear. The sun is harsh, so hats and sunscreen are must-haves. And if possible, carry disposable plates and spoons as cutlery is often not provided with online food orders. I have put a full checklist on the screen, and if you want a detailed video on this, just comment essentials below. Day 1 begins at the Veer Savarkar International Airport. I highly recommend booking a morning flight so you can utilize the entire second half of the day for sightseeing. From airport, cabs cost around 200 to 250 rupees and autos 100 to 150. I recommend you catch your ride outside the exit gate. This saves you the extra 50 rupees parking fee charged by drivers. For your stay, aim for Aberdeen Bazaar or Marina Park for convenience. We stayed at Seashore Residency near Marina Park for 1700 rupees per night. It was decent for the price with clean rooms, AC, Wi-Fi and scooty parking, though they don't have a restaurant. Another good budget option is Reef Atlantis. We are soon going to upload a dedicated video with detailed reviews of all our stays during this trip, so subscribe to Deepsumi Vlogs now to not miss that video. After lunch, it's time to explore. The best option is to rent a scooty. We rented ours from Networld Tours and Travels at Aberdeen Bazaar, paying 500 rupees for 24 hours with a 2000 rupees security deposit. The experience was great, and they also offer bookings for activities like scuba and parasailing in North Bay. So if you want, you can book with them in advance. Other rental options include Andaman bike rentals or Saro bike rentals. If you are with family, you can hire autos from Aberdeen Bazaar or use the contact numbers on screen for autos and taxis. You can also try booking online with Andaman Ocean Tours and Travels, but booking offline is usually much easier. For sightseeing, we recommend you first visit the Cellular jail or Kalapani. This colonial prison reminds us of the sacrifices of our freedom fighters like Batukeshwar Dutt and Savarkar as you walk past the narrow corridors. Though the museum closes by 5 pm, the last ticket is issued only until 4 pm, so make sure you reach there on time. Also remember, it is closed on Mondays and public holidays. From here, take a scenic 10-minute walk to Marina Park, a beautiful waterfront promenade that comes alive in the evening. Now continue along the sea to the flag point, where you can witness the massive Indian tricolor flying high against the skyline. The path connecting them is lined with food stalls, so grab a snack and enjoy the cool ocean breeze in the evening. After spending your evening at the park, it's time to head back to the Cellular jail to witness the mesmerizing light and sound show. A 45-minute visual masterpiece that narrates the struggles of our freedom fighters jailed here. We recommend booking either the 6:50 pm or the 7:50 pm slot, so that you have enough time to relax at the seaside first. To book your seats in advance, visit andamantourism.gov.in. A crucial tip here, bookings open exactly 10 days before, so if your visiting date is the 15th, book your tickets on the 5th to avoid missing out. Finally, you can end your day with a relaxing dinner at a seaside restaurant like Seafood Delights. Now before we head to our day 2 itinerary, here is something you need to understand that almost no one in YouTube tells you. From Port Blair, you can cover Havelock and Neil by 2 route options. Route 1 is visiting Neil first and then Havelock. The problem is that there are no private ferries directly from Port Blair to Neil, so you have to fully rely on government ferries. This becomes very risky because the government schedules are only announced 5 to 7 days in advance and the seats are limited. Route 2 is visiting Havelock first and then Neil. For 90% of you, we highly recommend this route. It helps you plan your trip conveniently with low risk because you can book private ferries like Nautica or Macruz way ahead of your trip. Keeping this in mind, on day 2, we will be heading to Havelock, also known as the Swaraj Dweep. You might wonder why we are leaving Port Blair after only half a day of exploring. The reason is simple but critical: weather. In Andamans, the weather plays a huge role in travel between islands. If the weather turns bad, jetties get cancelled and you might get stuck and miss your expensive return flight. That is why it is always safer to reach Port Blair 1 or 2 days before your scheduled departure. Now to get to Havelock, you have 2 main options: the government jetty or the private ferries. I would suggest you travel at least once on a government ferry, because unlike the private ones, you get full access to the open deck, which makes the journey truly beautiful. You can book these in advance from the Stars e-ticketing platform I mentioned earlier, to avoid last-minute rush at offline counters in Phoenix Jetty. But note that the ship schedules are released only 5 to 7 days before departure, and tickets sell out almost immediately once the window opens. So keep a close eye on the site or you will miss it. Alternatively, you can take private ferries like Nautica, Macruz or Green Ocean, which cost around 1500 rupees to 2000 rupees per person. In my opinion, you should choose Green Ocean 1 because it features a semi-open deck with a DJ, which makes the trip even more enjoyable. Always book these tickets through their official websites for the best reliability with least cancellation charges. Though third-party websites like ferrybooking.in and bookmyboat.com are also options if you find a good deal. Also note that all private ferries depart from Hardo Jetty, unlike government ferries which dock at Phoenix Jetty. Once you land in Havelock, you can hire a taxi or auto outside the Havelock Jetty, but they can be quite expensive. A full day of sightseeing in a reserved taxi or auto can cost you around 1500 to 2000 rupees. For budget travelers, government STS buses run between the jetty and Radhanagar beach for just 30 to 50 rupees from outside the jetty gates. However, they only ply at 1 hour intervals, which can be quite restrictive for a tight sightseeing schedule. So if you know how to ride, hiring a scooty for 500 to 600 rupees per day makes much more sense. We hired ours for 600 rupees with a 2000 rupees security deposit from Rent a Two-Wheeler from Kanhaiya, primarily because it is close to the jetty. If they are fully booked, there are other agencies nearby, but it is always better to call and book in advance during peak season. Now let's talk about where to stay. Most hotels are located either near Govindpur beach or Radhanagar beach. On our trip, we stayed at TSG Blue Resort and Spa near Radhanagar, which had an amazing vibe with poolside rooms. We also stayed at Placid Garden Resort near Govindnagar, which was a pleasant surprise with its villa-type rooms and delightful breakfast. And as I already told, we have a dedicated video on top 10 stays in Havelock coming up, so stay tuned. After checking in and freshening up, if you have some time before lunch, head out for beach hopping. Your first stop should be Vijayanagar Beach. It's not that crowded and perfect for those who want to float in shallow water or read a book under the large shade trees. Adjacent to it is the Kala Patthar Beach, famous for the black stones that adorn its shores. This is a photographer's paradise with iconic spots, and that's why you will find local photographers here who can take professional shots for a fee if you are interested. If it's already past 12 PM, have your lunch at the Ocean Prime multi-cuisine restaurant, which is especially famous for its prawn and lobster dishes. After lunch, it's time to head towards Radhanagar Beach, just a 20-minute ride from Govindnagar. It's the only blue flag beach in Andamans, which means you will find amenities like changing rooms, bathrooms and lifeguard support, making it the safest spot for swimming. There are also paid lockers available for Rs 40 per hour. While swimming is allowed only until 5:30 PM, don't just leave yet. As the day ends, prepare to witness one of the most spectacular sunsets you will ever see. After sunset, the sitting area lights up beautifully. You can explore the local market nearby before heading back to your resort to enjoy the night activities. Just remember, the last bus from Radhanagar is around 6 PM, right after the sunset, so don't miss it if you are not in bike or taxi. Now day 3 is going to be very special because our next activity starts not in the morning but at 3 AM. Yes, you heard that right, that early. We are heading out for bioluminescence kayaking or night kayaking along the mangroves. This isn't just regular kayaking. Here, the water glows with every stroke of your pedal. This glow is caused by tiny organisms called phytoplankton, which are found in very few beaches in India. And remember at the beginning I told you that you should plan your Andaman trip according to the lunar cycle? This is the reason. Because this bioluminescence is most vibrantly visible on a new moon day or just before or after it. So always check for new moon dates and plan accordingly. We booked our session with Aquarius Night Kayaking in Havelock as they have excellent reviews. The experience of night kayaking with our trainer Arpita ma'am was much more than what we expected. Sailing through the mangroves while stargazing and seeing the water glow was magical. The cost is around 3,500 rupees per person for bioluminescence kayaking, and usually 2 people sit in one kayak. By 5:30 AM, you will be back to the shore, so head back to your hotel for breakfast and get ready for the next adventure, scuba diving and snorkeling. The best time to dive is early morning when the water is calm and still. I highly recommend booking in advance to avoid the rush. We booked with Island Divers in Havelock and I strongly recommend them. They have great reviews and their team really knows how to keep you in light mood if you are nervous.
Welcome to my vlog. Subscribe kare, like kare.
With them, you have 2 options. You can go for boat diving or shore diving at Nemo Reef. Shore diving costs around 3,000 rupees and takes 2 hours, but I highly recommend paying a bit more for boat diving, which costs around 5,000 to 5,500 rupees depending on the season. It takes around 3 hours and takes you deep into the ocean where you will witness mind-boggling corals and marine creatures that you just don't see near the shore. Plus, they capture your entire experience on GoPros and give you the photos and videos as a keepsake. After your dive, head for lunch at something different, a beautiful beachside cafe located at Govindnagar beach. They offer a mix of local seafood and international dishes with a stunning ocean view. And if you still have energy left and want some more adventure, head to the Elephanta beach, which is a hub of water activities. Here is a quick note, Elephanta beach is very similar to North Bay, which we will visit later in Port Blair. So if you plan to do water sports here, you can skip North Bay later, or vice versa. To reach Elephanta beach, you can take a jetty which costs around 1000 rupees for a round trip. It's better to book online via bookmyboat.com to avoid the rush. However, there is another adventurous way to reach there, a 1.8 kilometers forest trail. You can park your scooty at the trek start point and walk through the forest. The trail is perfectly safe, but remember, entry closes at 2 p.m. sharp, though you are free to return from the beach later in the evening. Upon reaching Elephanta, you can enjoy activities like jet skiing, sea walks, parasailing, and a lot more. The beach is well equipped with paid lockers and changing rooms with shower facilities, so you can enjoy without any worries. After a thrilling afternoon, head back to your resort for dinner and enjoy the night vibes of Havelock. On our last morning in Havelock, get up early around 4:30 am and head directly to the Kalapathar beach again. This is where you will capture the majestic sunrise, probably the best sunrise view you will ever get on this trip. However, if the weather is cloudy, you might not get the best view, so do keep an eye on the weather forecast. After the sunrise, get back to the hotel, have your breakfast and check out. Take your scooty and drop it off at the shop near the Havelock jetty, as today we will be heading to another beautiful island, Shaheed Dweep on Neil Island. Just like before, the booking process for private or government ferries for Neil is the same. Upon arriving at Neil, you have a few different options. You can take public transport buses to reach your hotel for just 25 to 30 rupees, or hire autos and taxis outside the jetty for around 1500 rupees for full day sightseeing. However, I would again suggest you hire a scooty here as well. On our trip, we hired a scooty for 600 rupees from Kalpana Bike Rentals right after we arrived. The shop is at a walking distance from Neil Jetty Point, which makes it super convenient. Now here is the most crucial tip for Neil Island. The moment you rent your bike, ask the shop owner or check on Google for the low tide timings for the natural bridge. This is because the path to the bridge is covered with water during high tide, so you can only visit it during the low tide window. These timings change daily, so don't forget to confirm it immediately so you can plan for your next 24 hours. After hiring your scooty, head to your hotel. For stays, we recommend Lakshmi Continental in the budget range or TSG Aura for a luxury experience. We booked our stay at Lakshmi Continental primarily because it was close to the Laxmanpur sunset point, the Neil Jetty and the natural bridge. The rooms were good with all the amenities like AC and Wi-Fi. And the highlight for us was the delicious food in the restaurant. After you freshen up and relax a bit, head out for today's sightseeing. Your first spot should be the Bharatpur beach. This is the only beach in Neil where you can take a dip, as all others are too rocky due to corals. It is ideal for swimming and water activities, or you can rent a glass bottom boat to view the corals. And thanks to its location near the jetty, there are a lot of street food vendors nearby, so you can have a mouth-watering lunch right here. In the evening, head out to the famous Laxmanpur beach sunset point. Keep in mind there are 2 Laxmanpur beaches listed on Google Maps, so don't get confused. Search specifically for the sunset point. This is the best location in Neil to witness the sunset. A lot of people gather here, and just sitting with your loved ones watching the sun dip into the horizon far from the city hustle is an amazing experience. There are also many outlets just outside the beach where you can relish delicious marine dishes and shop for handicrafts and items made from seashells at a very reasonable price. After exploring, head back to your hotel and finalize your plan for the natural bridge for tomorrow morning. On day 5, wake up early and head to the Sitapur beach to witness the sunrise. It is one of the main tourist points in Neil, but if the low tide timings for the natural bridge are early in the morning, you might have to skip the sunrise to prioritize the bridge. Now head to the natural bridge, which is listed as Laxmanpur Beach 2 on Google Maps. Upon reaching, you have the option to hire a guide for 1500 rupees per group. So it's up to you, but they can be helpful in spotting marine life and taking your photos too. To reach the bridge, you have to do a small trek and then walk a fair distance over dead corals. So please wear slippers or rent them at the entrance. This magnificent rock formation is a perfect place to click some amazing pictures. Just a few hundred meters away, there is a second bridge known as the Howrah Bridge, so do cover that as well. Now here is a quick secret tip, especially for photographers. After covering the natural bridge, if you have time during high tide, go back to the parking area of the Laxmanpur Sunset Point. We were surprised to find a little getaway to the beach there that looked absolutely stunning during the high tide. There was absolutely no crowd. It was like having a private beach to ourselves. So definitely check this spot for some epic shots. After that, head back to your hotel, check out and drop off your scooty. Board your afternoon ferry back to Port Blair. It is a 1.5-hour journey, so you would reach by 2 or 3 pm. Once you arrive, head to your hotel and rent a scooty again for 2 days from Networld Tours and Travel. For the rest of the day, you have two options. First, you can visit the Samudrika Marine Museum run by the Navy. It houses rare fish, corals and tribal history, but keep in mind it closes by 5 pm. The second option is Corbin's Cove Beach, which is a 20-minute ride from Cellular jail. The beachfront is lined with tall coconut trees, making it a scenic spot to stroll. There are plenty of snack outlets and it is also the only place where you can try flyboarding. However, in my honest opinion, the beach has become quite crowded and a bit dirty due to the rush. So if you are short on time or prefer cleaner beaches, you should skip it. On day 6, we have to cover 3 spots, so start early. First, take a boat from Aberdeen Jetty to Ross Island, now renamed as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Island. You can book tickets online either for Ross Island alone or both Ross and North Bay together via ferrybooking.in or bookmyboat.com. Or you can directly visit the ticket counter at the Rajiv Gandhi Water Sports Complex. Just make sure to reach by 8:30 am because the queues get long very fast. Ross Island is fascinating, often called the Paris of the East. Today it is famous for its historic ruins, reclaimed by massive tree roots and the friendly deers and peacocks roaming freely. You can explore the island on foot, but if you are traveling with elderly parents or just want comfort, you can hire electric golf carts to take you around for a fee. From Ross, the same boat will take you to the North Bay Island, the hub for water sports activities in Andamans. And here is a list of all the activities with probable prices. Since you have already done scuba in Havelock, I highly recommend trying parasailing here for an aerial view of the islands. And if you are traveling with family or kids who don't want to get wet, you can try the Coral Safari Semi-Submarine, which offers a great view of the underwater life from the comfort of a cabin. Once you are back at the Aberdeen Jetty, grab lunch and head 26 km south to Chidiya Tapu. The route itself is scenic, winding through the forests and coastlines. You can reach here in about an hour by scooty, or for a budget-friendly option, take the government Go tourist bus. A day pass is just ₹100, but strictly keep an eye on the schedule as the last bus leaves Chidiya Tapu between 6 to 6:15 pm. Alternatively, a private taxi costs around 1200 rupees or 1500 rupees if you add trekking time for the Munda Pahad trek. And I highly recommend booking via Andaman Ocean Tours and Travels for the transparent fixed rates. Once you reach Chidiya Tapu beach, don't just stop there. I strongly recommend doing the Munda Pahad trek. It's a short 1.5 km forest trail that takes around 30 to 45 minutes. However, you strictly need to start this trek by 3 pm because the checkpost entry usually closes after that. The trail leads you to a cliff edge that offers a breathtaking panoramic view of the open ocean. And trust me, the view is worth every step. After the trek, be at the Sunset Beach Point by 5 pm to witness the sky turning fiery red. Probably the best sunset you will see in Port Blair. But remember, the area closes by 6 pm. Entering the water is strictly forbidden due to crocodiles, and there is zero network here, so download your offline maps beforehand. Now head back to Port Blair before it gets too dark. For dinner, if you are craving South Indian food, check out Annapurna Cafeteria. And if you want a grand seafood feast, go to the new Lighthouse restaurant near the jetty. Finally, return your rented scooty by 8 p.m. and get a good night's sleep for the big excursion tomorrow. Our final day is dedicated to a very special excursion to Baratang Island, famous for its natural wonders. This journey starts early. You need to be ready by 4 am. The reason for this early start is that to reach Baratang, we have to pass through the Jarawa tribal reserve. This is a protected area inhabited by the Jarawa tribe, one of the oldest indigenous tribes in the world. As we drive through the dense forest, you might spot members of the tribe, but please remember, photography or videography is completely prohibited in this zone. Also, you cannot take a rented bike as two-wheelers are not allowed. So how do you get there? You have three options. First, you can hire a private cab, which is quite expensive, costing around 4,500 rupees to 5,000 in peak season. Second, for a budget-friendly option, you can book a government bus for just around 200 rupees using the ANTS Pathik app. However, we recommend the third option which we used, the taxi sharing service from Andaman Ocean Tours and Travels. They charge around 2,250 rupees per person for only the limestone caves, excluding the mud volcano. Now that might sound high compared to the bus, but there is a catch. This price includes the 900 rupees speedboat charge required to reach the caves. Plus they handle all the permits and provide pick-up drop from the hotel, making it completely hassle-free. Vehicles move through the reserve in a convoy system at specific times. Once you cross the forest, you reach the middle state jetty. Here you will be transferred across the water on a large vessel which costs around 15 rupees. After crossing, you will board a smaller speedboat that takes you through thick, dense mangrove forests. This boat ride itself is one of the highlights of the trip. The boat drops you at a wooden boardwalk from where it is a short trek to the massive limestone caves. These caves feature incredible stalactite and stalagmite formations created over millions of years. It's truly a geological marvel. However, there is another spot called the mud volcano, but in my honest opinion, you should skip this. It involves extra time and cost, and often it's just a small bubbling mud piles which might not be very impressive compared to the caves. After exploring the caves, you will follow the same route back to Port Blair, reaching the city by evening. Use this last evening for some souvenir shopping at Aberdeen Bazaar. It is the best place to buy handicrafts, sell jewelry or wooden artifacts to take a piece of Andaman home with you. So now comes the most important question. How much does this 7-day trip actually cost? Based on our itinerary, here is a rough estimate per person. Hotels 10,000 to 12,000 rupees on twin sharing basis. Ferries and local transport around 6,000 to 8,000 rupees. Activities should cost around 10,000 to 12,000 rupees. And food approx 5,000 rupees. So the total budget comes to approximately 31,000 to 37,000 per person. And here is a day-wise breakdown of all the expenses on your screen. Of course, this can vary depending on where you eat or which hotel you choose, but this is a safe range to plan with. Now I know that's a lot to digest, so I have packed this full itinerary along with a custom Google Maps of all the spots covered, including some secret ones, into a free PDF for your convenience. Just comment itinerary below and I will personally send you the link from where you can get the PDF. And guys, honestly, a massive amount of effort has gone into making this video. We have spent days on the ground struggling with ferries, testing routes and noting down every single detail to ensure you get the best out of this trip. So if this video saved your time or money, I have a small request, please like the video, but more importantly, if you really want to support us, please hit the hype button below. And make sure you subscribe for our upcoming detailed hotel reviews and ferry comparisons, and follow @DeepSwimmingVlogs on Instagram for live updates. And if you still have doubts, drop a comment, I will reply to everyone. So this is Deep signing off, keep exploring and I will see you in the next adventure.